What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Pat Benatar, and we're continuing through In the Heat of the Night, 1979, though I am jumping over a track I already reacted to on the Best Shots compilation, shout out to Mr. Solo, but the next one I haven't reacted to is In the Heat of the Night, the title track. And as far as I know, there's no connection to the Sandra tune of the same name, because when I reacted to that one, which I actually reacted to like the single version and the album version, nobody mentioned that it was a cover of Benatar. So I'm assuming there are two songs that just happen to share the same name. I don't remember what I said in the introduction to the first of those two Sandra tracks I reacted to, but the phrase would seemingly refer to the passion between people that often occurs at night. Now, of course, that could be physical and sexual, but it could, of course, also be psycho-emotional. Oftentimes, all of those factors would converge to make that heat, that passion. So, operating on multiple levels, body heat, but also mental heat, passionate heat. So, yeah, that's what I would expect here. But, given my limited knowledge still of Benatar tunes, but, slowly growing, and I've heard a couple albums and, some tunes from that Greatest Hits compilation, I have a sense that there's some nuance. There's often a more complicated story than maybe the title would let you presume on the surface. So that's what I'm going to assume here, that In the Heat of the Night might not just be a great night of passionate lovemaking or emotional power, but perhaps something that's more complicated, and heat might mean friction, or it might mean, a night that is like that, but that's not the only experience that you have. So yeah, let's see what it is in practice. This is Pat Benatar, In the Heat of the Night, from the album of the same name, 1979.
Out in the streets tonight, under the neon lights, you're searching for something new, but nothing is real, and no one can feel like you. They say eagles fly in this red hot sky, but were they it's yet to begin, and you ain't seen nothing yet. But what you see, you'll never forget. If you say,
What's a tune? And I get why it would be chosen as a title track, not only because it's a nice phrase, but the lyrics are really interesting. I don't quite know how to read it, more on that in a moment, but also because it's just a very sonically and vocally dynamic tune. And indeed, I love when she gets raspy and has a bit of that fire in her delivery, which she does increasingly as the song goes along, even though the overall atmosphere of the song is sort of laid back and very much like a nighttime tune, like the sonic setting, the sound of the music just makes me think about, city skylines at night, which I think is referenced specifically. But yeah, so lyrically, I was like going back and forth. It's like, is you a person, a guy, which I think maybe because there's like, the potential love that's like right in front of you. It's like she's shouting to him, like, hey, don't you see this opportunity that's here? But there were other times where I was thinking like the you could be her, like she's sort of appraising her life, but doing it like in second person as a way to like take a step back and try to get an overview of what she's been doing, where she's been hanging out, if that's right or wrong. But then I was also thinking at different points like maybe it's a you like generally, meaning the listener or any person, like who might fall into these situations or this lifestyle or be in this way. But again, there were lines about like a person leaving, and then again a line about like, this person or this love that's like right in front of you. So my best guess is that she's speaking to a man or a person who like she could have a connection with, but there also seems to be some like narration, like where again, if the you is another person, it's like they are hanging out at like a pool hall on the edge of town, which kind of gives you like a lower, or at least certainly not like refined, like socioeconomic setting. It's not like a fancy hotel or something like that. It's like a, sort of hole in the wall pool hall. You can like see people smoking inside and, people hanging out front of the place and so on, maybe drinking beers. And so like gave me a very specific image in terms of being on the edges of a big city, and again, like maybe folk who are on the lower socioeconomic runs, or like doing things culturally that are not the most like celebrated publicly or whatever, sort of enjoying vices like smoking and drinking and, trying to hook up with people on the weekend and so on. But like specifically it was like at a pool hall with all these girls hanging around, which I don't know if she's like inserted herself into that world and she's, looking for a guy there, or if it was the guy who like she's talking about, like he's going to places looking to hook up instead of recognizing that she's there, and like would be a more significant or meaningful connection. But yeah, like we get visual references. There's again a sketch of a story, even if I can't quite piece it together, and a sense of the emotional passion. And was it like the red sky? So like, maybe some of the references are like conceptual more than like literal visual, though I think, probably functioning on multiple levels. But yeah, a really compelling tune. And as I was listening, I was thinking at one point, because it has this kind of like smooth, laid back rock sound, but with some powerful, raspy female vocals. And I was thinking like, if you put in Stevie Nicks' voice here, I could completely believe this as a Fleetwood Mac tune. So yeah, definitely a cool track. And knowing that Pat has this like, rocker, like rock singer sort of female persona in her music, even if like the music I knew from her, which was very limited, it was only a couple songs, but a tune like Love is a Battlefield or like We Belong, where it's like, it's not this sound. So obviously this is a few years before those tunes, and definitely I think you can hear like the rock sounds that, earned her the reputation, along with, like Heartbreaker or, Hit Me With Your Best Shot. But yeah, this definitely has like a mellow but somehow intense at the same time, like late 70s rock sort of vibe. So either way, I enjoyed it. Curious to hear what other people have to say. Luca is too, even though she's very sleepy. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.